Good morning and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS with your host, Bob Pace. And hang on to your children. It's now April 5th. And it's a Saturday here at 8 o'clock in the morning. Now, this is all about a government entity which I call Child Protection System. It's a system of entities. They all have different names. Like in California and Orange County, it's called the Child Protection Services, CPS. Next door in LA County, it's called the Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. In Arizona, it's called the Department of Children's Services, DCS. And in Kentucky, it's called the Cabinet. So no matter where you are, there's a CPS, a child protection system, in your county and in your state. And the whole purpose of this agency is to protect our children from neglect and abuse. And if there's problems with the family, they're supposed to do what's called family reunification. But apparently there are many CPS entities that are out there that are doing just the opposite. I call them rogue government entities. They seem to attack the people that are low income or going through hard and difficult times. And unfortunately, I was attacked by CPS also. When they are corrupt, they're very ruthless. They take your children when there's no cause for alarm. I mean, they're not in danger. My 3 kids were taken. They're in school. They weren't in danger. They take them, they alienate them from your children, and they also traffic your children into a foster care system that has been found to be corrupt. Not all foster care systems are bad. Not all child protection systems are bad. We do need CPS because every day there's 1,000 children that are gone unreported that could have used help from CPS. But it's hard to weed through the bad and the good. And so what I try to do with this live stream is talk for you an hour about CPS, about cases about CPS, news is about CPS. I've developed 5 rules that you need to really follow to get your kids back or not have them taken. It's very complex. You're dealing with a lot of emotion. You come in this room and you're with a lot of emotion, and I feel for you. My arm goes around you. It gives you a warm hug because what you're dealing with isn't your fault. You're in this room because you care about your children, and it's proven that the best parents to raise children are the biological parents. The biological parents. And as I am on twice a day, 7 days a week, that's 14 live streams. I've been doing this for 17 months, since October 23. I've talked to over 1,000 people, not only from the United States. I've pretty much talked to everybody from every United States there is, every state there is, including the District of Columbia. I've also talked to 21 countries, and some of the people in the countries. A woman in South Africa has been going through so much emotion and so much problems with her government agency. She has called in several times, and I just spoke to her just a couple days ago. Another lady from United Kingdom has called in. Many people from 4 provinces of Canada. So it's a worldwide epidemic. As I say, I've talked to lots of people in every state. And even that one lady that got raped twice in the District of Columbia. One in her new housing program that she was in, and then again under police custody. It's sad. Children are being hurt even in the custody of CPS. I see pictures of bruises and cuts and marks on children that shouldn't be there. These children are innocent. They're loving and caring, and they grow up, and then in the teenage years, they have a lot of problems understanding. And again, it's all about family. Family loves their children. Now, I'm on at 10 o'clock Monday through Friday in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Again on the weekend at 8 a.m. in the morning, Pacific Standard Time. Then I'm on again in the evening at 7 p.m. Monday through Sunday, all 7 days. So those are my live streams. And I'm here to help you because I care. I'm not an attorney. I work for the law offices of Vincent W. Davis. Vincent W. Davis is my attorney, and he's been practicing law in the areas of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. He has over 39 years of fighting CPS and getting back thousands of children. Not only does he fight getting your children back, he also does civil lawsuits. He's not afraid to stand up to CPS. He's won millions of dollars against CPS both in state court and federal court. So he can do both. He's a fighter. He's a pit bull of attorney. He's also what's called a trial attorney. Now, his office is located in Arcadia, California. That's in Los Angeles County. But he'll go anywhere for his retainer to fight in other states. He's done cases in Oklahoma, Missouri, Pennsylvania. Northern California, the local counties around here, San Bernardino, Riverside. But he'll go. He has right now a big case in Kern. I see several cases in Kern there. And I get daily reports from my regular followers, what I call family. I have a group of 20 to 30 people that come in here that have been with me for the last 17 months. I was just thinking, October, November, December is 3 plus 12. That's 15 months. January, February, March, 3. It's 18 months now. We're going into the 19th month, over a year that I've been doing this live stream. And I really care. I want to help you all. Now, my rules are simple, basic. There are 5 rules I developed that I wish I had known and I'd followed because my case would never have been in CPS. One, and the most important one, is you get yourself a real attorney. I don't mean a court-appointed attorney or public defender. I mean an attorney that is background in juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. That's the kind of attorney you need, and someone has experience of fighting CPS. Now, I told you about my attorney, Vincent W. Davis. He's the guy that you really should think about of hiring him. Now, for LA County, his retainer for just LA County is only $5,000. That's the money you put up front so that they can start your case. That doesn't mean that's the final outcome. It could be less than $5,000 or greater. It's just that you have to do supplement added to the retainer. His rate is $500 an hour. So if you divide that into 5,000, that tells you about how many hours that 5,000 will really cover. And one moment here. I need my phone. Hold on 1 second. Hold on. I got to find the. I hear the phone. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. Found the phone. Found the phone. Sorry about that. It slipped out of my hand. Good morning, Grace. Glad to see you on Saturday morning, bright and early. Grace is my show producer, and one of the ways that you can be on my show is you can contact her, and she'll gladly put you on as a guest on my show. A guest on my show. To be a guest on my show, all you have to do is send her an email. Let me put that up there. That's all you have to do, and then she'll get you on the show. Just put the date, the time, either morning, afternoon, Monday through Sunday. You just pick it. And I want to thank for you all the emojis that come in here. Hello, Dorothy Cook. I believe you're from Minnesota, maybe. But that is a really interesting emoji. It's a sort of crunched up face with your tongue hanging out. And I know it's very confusing. This matter can be very, very, very confusing. So, with that being said, as I was telling you, that you can be a guest. Now, to be a guest on my live stream, all you'd have to do is to say, email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace at vincentwdavis.com. And she'll gladly put you on the podcast. And she'll give you specific directions of what to do on the podcast. It's a link on StreamYard. It's an application that we use. And then also, it's on YouTube where it's broadcast. There are 7 rooms from Facebook that connect you to this room, the YouTube room. And this YouTube room is that I'd like you to subscribe to CPS defense attorney Vincent Davis. Subscribe to the YouTube and support him on that. Also, there's the ticket running that gives you the help that we need for this podcast. Now, you can support our channel, and there's different amounts you can support it with. See that ticket? At the end of the ticket, it'll tell you where to send the money about the channel there. Good morning, Dorothy Cook. You're from North Carolina then? Okay, I think she's from North Carolina. Thank you, Dorothy, for telling me where you're from. And if you have a question, please uh, text me a text me your question or a comment. We need to know it's about CPS and show your first name and your city or your county and state and country. The reason why I'm saying country is I said I have 21 countries that participate in here. Also, tell me about your case from the beginning and bring it up to date. That way I can help you. That way I can help you. Now, I already told you about rule number 1, hire an attorney. Rule number 2, documentation. One of the most important paper you can create for documentation is incidents, all about the incidents that you encounter with CPS or with the police or with the school or even with your children. You write down the incident. And it's important to use 3 lines. The first line will be the phone number, the location, the date, and the time, and the people you talk to. The second line is a summary of what the incident was all about. And then the third line is a summary of the outcome. If you don't have the outcome, don't worry. Keep it blank until you do have the outcome. But that's the 3 parts to, recording an incident. That becomes very vital to you 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years as your case goes on. My case lasted 3 years. I fought them for the first 5 years, and then in 2015, they trafficked my children into foster care and alienate them and also did injuries to them. It was a terrible experience. Terrible experience. Now, Dorothy Cook has said a comment or two. Rule, hire an attorney. That's right, Dorothy. That is the most important thing. Fighting CPS is like open heart surgery. You're not going to use an auto mechanic to do open heart surgery. Just like you're not going to use a court appointed attorney or attorney that has no knowledge about CPS fight your case. That is very critical and you'll regret it. I wish I had an attorney first on my case. I tried to use the court appointed attorney. It was a waste of time. It was a waste of time. Hello, Deanna Robinson. Glad to see you again. You've been in here before. I know the name sounds familiar. And Deanna is from Washington County in Marietta, Ohio. And welcome and thank you all for telling me where you're from. That's really great. And Dorothy says rule number 2, document the encounter with CPS, the police, and all it's involved. I agree. You'll need that documentation. Thank you, Dorothy Cook. And then Dee says, how did you get your kids back? It was tough. It was tough. When they first happened to me, for 5 years, I was being hassled by the Child Protection Services in Orange County, California, the Child Protection System, the CPS. Well, this entity would once a week contact me either by phone or coming out to see me about the allegations. What I did not know that one of the reporters that was reporting it in was a layperson. That's one group of reporting. And they were my in-laws. They're my wife's mother, father, three sisters and brother. They took turns once a week calling from Ohio to California. Now, this shortly was happening after I lost my job through no fault of my own. I had worked 60 years and I had bought a home, I had payments to make and everything. They've never really been supportive of our family. Now, I've been with my wife for 31 years and we've been married, and they never came to our wedding. They never supported our children or our family. It took me a long time to figure out who was the one that made the false accusations. But they did. And when that first happened, I should have got an attorney right away. That was a mistake. I thought I could fight them without an attorney. And at first, I would show them, when they said that there was no lights or electricity or gas is on, I'd show them that everything's working. I show them the utility bills. They said you weren't taking the kids to school. I showed them their grade reports, showed them they not missed any school. I showed them the activities they're involved in, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and AYSO soccer. Also the activities in schools, the recitals, the plays, the parent-teacher conferences, the open house. Then they insisted to see the bedrooms, and I did not know about the law that says you don't need to show them your home. It's not a law, but it's one of your constitutional rights. But they saw that each child had their own bedroom, it was clean, and they had their own bathroom. It was a huge house. It was a 3,000 square foot, 2-story house that was on a lot that was oversized, had a swimming pool, a beautiful yard, and I lived in what was called a private neighborhood with CC&Rs about a mile from the beach. Anyway, this went on week after week after week. Till finally they got frustrated, the CPS did, so they called the police. The police detective tracked me down, followed me, and then when he had me stopped by a bogus traffic violation, he ordered me to my home. Now, I did not know that your constitutional amendments or your constitutional rights are you do not have to let people in your home. There's only 3 ways to get in your home. One is a court order warrant. That's a legal document they get in court, signed by a judge, a wet signature, that's embossed by a hand stamp through the signature. It's very quickly filled out. It's on a work day. The form is filled out, not a weekend, not a holiday during the week, but a regular work day. It has to be addressed to the persons involved and the naming of the 3 children. Also, it needs to have specific instructions of what they can do. They can enter the home, they can search the home, they can talk to you, they can take your children. That's what a warrant is. But if you don't answer the door, you won't see the warrant. Now, some people say, slide the paper underneath my door. Well, most of the doors are pretty tight. My best advice of you from experience of talking over 1,000 people here is don't answer the door. Be quiet. You've been taught as a young child, do not talk to strangers. These people are strangers. They're very much strangers here. And so what happened is that like a fool, I followed this detective to my home, and in front of my home were like 11 people. There was 5 firemen, there was 3 social workers, 2 code enforcement, 2 uniformed policemen, and the detective. Actually, it was 13 people. And they're standing in my front yard. not on the sidewalk. They're standing in my garden, all prepared with the looks on their face like they had suddenly seen the most horrible sight they've ever seen. Now, my home from the outside looked perfectly fine. You can't allow your home to get disrepaired because there's something called CC&Rs. It's a private neighborhood. But anyway, I opened the house. I had no problem of opening the house. And they went through the house searching. And this was my mistake. I should have said, do you have a warrant? There's a lot of mistakes I made. You should never let them in. And the reason why I tell you people don't answer the door, there's been too many people killed uneasily. They answer the door and bang 5 times. There was a Air Force enlisted man, young, starting out in a career in the Air Force, and he left his mother from Alabama, gone to Georgia and Gainesville, Florida. He had a fiance. He was talking to his fiance on the phone when the sheriff did not know how to approach or how to find. He was there for domestic violence. He had reports. He was at the wrong place. The guy opens the door and the sheriff fired 5 times with that gun. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't answer the door. He died talking on the phone to FaceTime to his fiancée. Think about the feelings that she's feeling. Yes, the sheriff was wrong. He was fired. He's being sued. But is that going to bring back the young boy whose mother is so sad in Alabama? She trusted, he had a great job. But that's one example. There's many examples. They've been in the news where people have been apprehended and forcefully wrong. Forcefully wrong. I just talked to a lady the other day who was apprehended by the LAPD. And they're doing the same thing they did to Foreman, where they put their leg in the back and try to hurt or harm people. I don't know if it's the gut of emotion of the time they're involved, but why do police? Why can't they think about shooting somebody in the foot if they're danger, or shooting them in the arm or something? Why do they need to shoot them 5 times in the chest point blank? It makes no sense to me how policemen are not trained to properly use their firearm. That's one of several cases. There was a black lady in LA that was shot 5 times in the face. She's dead. That was by an LA sheriff. And the deputy who's assisting him did nothing. He allowed that to happen. Again, that lady's dead. There was a Korean woman not too long ago that was shot by 2 policemen. She had some mental disorders, and instead they shoot first and ask questions later. Problem is the people are dead. So if that doesn't instill you to not open the door, don't open the door. It's not safe to do so anymore. In the old days, we used to leave our doors unlocked. What I mean by old days, I'm talking about the 50s and before. Yes, there's been crime all through life. And yes, people are killed. But it seems now that people are insensitive to shooting and killing somebody. I know it's really sad, Dorothy Cook. I know it's really sad. But that's why I'm trying to emphasize to you all out there, don't worry about answering the door. Whatever they need to talk to you, whether it's a salesman or someone that wants to preach about God, or maybe it's a neighbor that lost a cat or something, it can all wait. You don't have to rush to open the door. And if you have family members, you can establish a knocking or, a door ringing, a set rings or a set knocks to let them in. But it's not safe to do so. This is the year 2025. It isn't like it was in 1950. I mean, things were different. Kids bring guns to school. That's why there's no lockers. It used to be a big day, a big thing at school when someone would throw a spit wad at the clock or put a seat that made noises for the teacher. I mean, there was silly things back then. Now, I know from experience you have to wrestle with students with guns. That's why they don't have lockers. That's why secures is so secured. That's why schools were so secured. Now, D. Robinson, I know that you're a grandparent, which is great, and something, as they said, that took your granddaughter. There is a book that Mr. Davis has called Grandparents How to Fight CPS and Steps on Getting Adoption or Guardianship of Your Grandchild. It's $9.99 and it's available on the Sand Store Attorney VWD. So um, I want you to know that that book is available for your grandparents out there, and I actually have a discount for you. If you use my name, PACE, PACE 50, you get 50% off. Capital PACE 50. And you get 50% off $9.99. It's a great book. It's geared for California, but it'll work in almost any state. And it'll tell you the steps and it'll help out your grandparents because grandparents have a right to children also. They're part of family, they're kinship. A family is more than a mother and daughter, a mother or a father. It's also your children, your aunts, your uncles. They're all part of the family. And CPS, a lot of them don't recognize that. A lot of them don't recognize that. You do not want to talk to social workers or the police. You can be very polite to them, give them your name, but then you have to tell them if this is a legal matter, I have the right to retain an attorney. I will contact my attorney, who in turn will contact you. So you can end the discussions right away. You don't have to talk to them further without an attorney present. You need to enforce your constitutional right. What that does, it stops them from pursuing. If you meet them outside and you're going towards your home, don't let them come in. Just turn to them and say, I'm sorry if this is regarding a legal matter. I need my attorney present. That is my constitutional right. You do not have to talk to them because what you do will be used against you. That was a mistake I did. I'm too talkative, so I talked to them all. Those 13 people that are in front of my house trying to find something wrong they couldn't find in 5 years. It seems like CPS feeds on that, but I later found out it's the money part. Rogue CPS systems, the child protection systems, make trillions of dollars a year. Trillion, not million, not billion. It's a money making thing. They give away bonuses and incentives. They even have one bonus that CPS systems get. In 1994, President Bill Clinton signed into law the incentive law. It's where CPS entities are given money, and I'm talking big, large sums of money, $10,000, $15,000, for putting a child into foster care as opposed to have them do family reunification. Family reunification takes time, and it's hard, with family reunification because parents have to take programs. And like domestic violence is 12 months. Every week for 52 weeks, you go to a domestic violence class. There's other programs and other parenting class that you'll need to take, especially if you as a parent have done something wrong. But that's not the end of the world. That's not the end of the world. Um, by the way, Dorothy Cook, it's capital PACE 50. It's capital PACE 50. And I know they took your daughter unjustly. And I'm sorry about that. I'm really sorry about that. Now, you'd asked me what happened to my family. It went through the next 3 years until I got an attorney of going nowhere. It's like you're going in circles. You're going in circles. I did get my 2 boys back. I have 6 children I've helped raise. We have the 3 older children. They have families of their own. They weren't affected by this. But my 3 younger children who are still in school, one was 9 years old in elementary school, one was 12 years old in a middle school, and one was in a private school, 15 years old. And they were great kids, but they were corrupt, hurt physically and emotionally in foster care. Foster care, in my experience, was horrible. They have a thing called a shelter where they put the kids next to a prison, a juvenile prison, and the play yards are adjacent. The play yards are adjacent, and that's wrong. That's wrong. The play yards are adjacent. Because you're exposing children to criminals. That's not protection. CPS should put their foot in their mouth because they're not protecting children. They put them in that danger. In fact, there's beehives that were so bad the kids were getting stung. Again, that's not protection. The place was dirty, it was overcrowded, and there were rats and roaches running around the place. My kids saw them all. And on top of that, they didn't have adequate sleeping areas. They're overcrowded. So my 3 children that were stolen and ripped from us as parents were first exposed to that. We did get them back out when we did something where you put them with next of kin. That's another thing. If you tell your next of kin is 3 states away, they're going to say, oh, we can't do that. That's not true. They don't want to waste the money. They got the money. They want to keep the money. So we were able to put them with my wife's sister and her husband. But we did not know that it was going to take months. And they eventually had to give them up because they couldn't take care of them. It was too much for those 2 people to take care of our 3 children. Why? Well, we took them to school every day, a private school, a middle school, and an elementary school. They didn't have to ride buses or walk to school. We wanted to make sure they're at school and they were safe and sound. So after they left my wife's sister and husband, they were put in what's called a group home. And the group home is something that isn't very nice. They yelled at my older son for staying awake working on his homework. He was in STEM, where he took a science class, technology class, engineering class, and a math class. He wanted to work, for the space industry. So he's pursuing, classes related to that. My son was scolded for drinking too much orange juice. He loved orange juice. And they didn't want the orange juice to be wasted. They had to prioritize the food. One of the problems was they had a new group running the group home. is from Boys Town, USA, and Boys Town is not geared to families that still have parents involved. So they talk to our kids to put your hands at your side and not hold you when you greet your parents. They were trying to alienate our kids. That is wrong. That's my first experience with Boys Town. And maybe they work great in the Midwest where parents don't have fathers or mothers. But our kids had very loving parents, a father and a mother. And we cared about our kids. But they were further destroyed in the system for 3 years. I tried at first a court appointed attorney. They don't work. They won't see you because they're so busy. They have 30 or more cases that they need to take care of. 30 or more cases. And in a group home, there are some kids that definitely have disciplinary problems that interfere with the other kids. They'll steal and hurt. And the parents running the group home had the mother was pregnant and had a little girl barely over a year old. How could they take care of 6 children, our 3 kids and 3 other ones? I think they had actually 7, plus their own 2. Is ridiculous. And they ate all the food that's for the kids. They ate all the food that was for the kids. And they themselves could barely run or walk because they're so out of shape. Both of them. It was a horrible experience. My kids were put in a group home. Then from a group home, they were put into a single family home, and it got worse. My son was hit in the head repeatedly because he took communion not the wrong way. What they thought, he decided to take it from a priest, a person who gives you the host that is a religious person. It goes on and on about the horror story. And I don't want to take up my show time to talk about my case. But at the end, when I hired Vincent Davis a year into the case, he got back my 2 boys, but we lost her daughter. And how we lost her daughter was retaliation by a young social worker in her 20s who didn't even have a high school education, who worked at a job with little experience, a little training. It's awful when I found all that out. And in court, she lied. She committed perjury. And our attorney caught her in the lie. She was being asked under oath what kind of parents my wife's sister and husband were that wanted to adopt our little 12-year-old daughter. And she said they were great parents. Well, then Mr. Davis pulled out a folder, and in there were reports from the police department. He started reading report after report about domestic violence. Not only was it domestic violence, it was physical domestic violence, where my wife's sister and her husband would hit each other hurtfully. That was not the environment you want to put a child in there. So we won the case against adopting our daughter. But it didn't stop there. It got really bad because the social worker told us parents, "You're never going to see your daughter again." And this is what she did. She told her daughter, "You're 12 years old. I want you to emancipate from your parents. You're going to remove your name completely, get a new name. You're going to seal your birth certificate and get another birth certificate and another social security card. Plus, you're going to get adopted by foster care." So she stole our daughter. They did that. And there's nothing we could stop to do it because you're not in touch with your kids. Yes, we would see our kids on visits, but you're not allowed to talk about the case. It got worse and worse. Yes, they retaliate. Social workers retaliate. And I could sue her for millions of dollars, but I didn't have the money for a retainer to do that lawsuit. So they got away. And now my daughter is 22 years old. She's 10 years older than when I last saw her, and she wants nothing to do with their parents. She doesn't want to talk to her mother who gave her birth or her father. And that is the hardest thing to go through. Day after day, I relive that. CPS in Orange County is corrupt. That's Orange County, California, the child protection system, where they get $20,000 per child while they're in custody of CPS. That's $60,000 a month. And they got that for 3 years. So, yes, you asked me what happened in my case. It was awful. We went through and took every parenting class. We took parenting classes that we were required to. We did all kinds of programs. We did everything they asked, but we never got our children back. Not all of them. But my attorney did get our boys back. One boy had turned 12 while in the system, and he wanted to go home, and he could ask that. The other boy turned 18. He wanted to go home. He didn't want, they were trying to offer him a free college education. But their idea of a college education would be a terrible experience. Anyway, it is a terrible system out there where they do retaliate. And so every day goes on, and I think about my 22-year-old daughter that I've not seen in 10 years. How's she doing? Now, my boys, luckily, I encourage them to see their daughter, even though they're divorced. Because when you get divorced or emancipate, you lose all ties with your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, your siblings. You know, you lose touch. It's a horrible, horrible retaliation that social work does. And I fought them. I met the director of CPS. I tried to tell him that what he was running was illegal. What they were doing was illegal. They don't want to hear that. They just make your case harder. That's why I had to get Vincent W. Davis. And so my boys are back. They live with us still. And we hear bits and pieces that our daughter's alive. That's about it. We don't know whether she was able to finish college or what. But it's really bad when a social worker retaliates. And you're probably saying to yourself, geez, how do we fight them? They are a hard entity to fight. You fight them by not opening the door, by not giving away your children, by not talking to them. Also, having a faith in God really helps. That's one person that's been in my life that's kept me going through all this, is loving and caring about God, because he will help you through this. Now, Dorothy Cook, I thank you very much for what you said in this room. Those are wonderful words that you're putting down there, and thank you for being a part of it. Also, D. S. Robinson, I know as a grandparent, it's really hard what you're going through. But I got an attorney. That's how I got my kids back. So the answer to your question, you have to get an attorney and you have to fight. You have to fight for them. It's sad. They're corrupt out there. You're like Alice in Wonderland, fell in the rabbit hole. And you've gone and met the Chester Cat, and the Chester Cat doesn't help you. You go from one room to the next room where it gets more and more bizarre. So anyway, all of you are experiencing a horrible, whether you're a parent or a grandparent, is wrong what they do. There are rogue CPS entities out there. You have to be careful. So don't talk to them. Try not to open the door. Do not let them in your home. Also, you have to be careful with medical trafficking. What's happening now is that you take your child to urgent care or the emergency room at the hospital, and there's a social worker for CPS working there, and they hear something and they think they can take your child from based on what they're hearing. So don't talk to social workers. Don't let your children out of your sight. They have to have a warrant. Ask to see the warrant, especially if you're pregnant and just gave birth to a child. Don't let them take it out of your room, even if police is along. Tell the police and the social worker to wait out in the lobby to get a warrant. You're not giving up your newborn. Check ahead of time. Make a list who can come into the room where you're giving birth. If the police are not on there, the social workers are on there, they can't come in. Tell hospital staff to remove them. One of the most important things you can do if you suspect child abuse or if you suspect your child's in danger is call 911. Don't just call the police or CPS. The reason why you call 911 is to document everything. They're a neutral body. The police, not all police are corrupt, but a lot of them are. Not all CPS are corrupt, but a lot of them are. But if you call a 911 that you're concerned about the safety of your child, if you hear they're being bruised or you see your child for a visit and they're bruised or something, then you have the right to call 911 and have a welfare check done on your child at the group home or something there to find out. You need to know the laws, and having an attorney will help you that way. You need to document everything. You need to learn to say no and don't talk to police or social workers. Furthermore, you need how to research the internet. There's so much you can learn on the internet. It's just important for the hierarchy of words you put down. It's a hierarchy of words you put down. Well, we have about 7 minutes left here, 7 or 8 minutes left here before my show will be up at 9 o'clock. And then I have a very important engagement right after the show I have to go to. But I want you to know I'm here for you to help you answer your questions, your concerns. And I appreciate that you've given me blessings on here. And yes, having a faith in God has helped me pull this through. Loving your family as best as you can. Understanding your family. I'm not a perfect father, but I do care about my family. When I was raised as a boy, I thought my dad was really cool. He was in a military career, and I only saw him for 3 months out of a year, and we moved every year and a half. No long-lasting friends. Not until I was in high school and my last 2 years of high school at the new high school. I had 2 high schools. Always had 2 of things because we lived, and it was great. We lived in Japan. We lived around the world. Guam. We've been to the Philippines. I've been to over 50 countries, not related to my dad, but to what I was doing in my life. So I'm a world traveler, and I'm always very thankful when I come back to the United States because it is the best place you can live. There are other places that are interesting, and I love Canada, I love Europe. I've been to Africa. I've been to Japan and Indonesia. I've been to Portugal and France. They're beautiful places. I've been to Norway. I've been to England, Scotland, and Wales. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Holland. There are all these beautiful places. But I'm thankful that I'm in the United States. But we got to make changes to the way that CPS is is fighting us. That CPS is fighting us. Good morning, Faye.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good. I'm so glad to hear from you. You people that are
Yeah.
listening right now, this is Faye Manling. She's one of my beautiful people that have been with me for a long time. She's a mother, a single mother in Kentucky. You're on my show live, Faye.
Oh, hello, everybody.
Yeah. How's the pneumonia going?
I'm just now getting over it. I've had it for almost 3 months.
Wow, she had a double case of pneumonia, and it's very cold where she's from. And what's new in the CPS world in the cabinet in Richmond, Kentucky?
Well, we just have a family right now that's suing them over them wrongfully taking their children. So
Well,
we're going to see how that turns out.
That's good news. I hope that they able to win it and have a good attorney.
Oh, they got their kids back from them. So
Wow, that's good news. And what was the case about? What was the case about?
You know what? I haven't really delved into it. I just know that they wrongfully took the kids from them, and then they turned around and sued the cabinet over it. So I haven't really went into all the details on it yet. It's actually just found out about it yesterday, so just haven't had a chance to research it.
Yeah, well, I'll look into it. In what city is it in?
Hold on, I have to pull it up. Give me a second. Let's see. I can find it here. Let's see. It was a news. It wasn't an article or anything. Let's see. Local Kentucky couple suing Kentucky Cabinet for Health and Family Services. They had to go outside of the state of Kentucky to find an attorney, which was Ohio.
Wow.
Says you just have to listen to the video. See, there wasn't an article or anything on it. It was just a news video.
Can you send me the link? Sure. Can you send me the link? Huh? Can you send me the link so I can watch it later?
Yeah, I can send you the link.
Now, what's the latest with your adoption?
I think I already sent it to you in your messenger, maybe.
Okay, I'll take a look there. What is the status with your son? Have you got anything further with the adoption of your son or guardianship?
No, it's still in limbo.
Okay. Are they still harassing you with drones?
No. Actually, they haven't since I filed a formal complaint with the city over it.
Wow. That was smart. You know,
Yeah,
there was another lady on the show that said she had drones come back to her yard in LA. So it's
yeah,
not the only police entity that does that. So I
yeah.
believe you.
They done it for all throughout the summer, and
Okay.
when the one landed on top of my house and slid off of it into my yard, I picked it up and told them I was going to keep it. They're like, well, you can't. That's government property. I'm like, well, then you need to keep it off my property. Or the next one I'll keep, and I don't give a damn. You can take me to court over it. You
Yep.
can try to arrest me for it, but that won't get you very far because I will sue the crap out of you all.
Right. Well, look.
Like you're not allowed to surveillance my house without a warrant, and you have to have cause for doing so.
Yeah. Well, Faye, my time is up on my morning show. You can still hang on the phone. I can talk to you or call you back, but I need
Okay.
to end my podcast here.
All right.
I want to thank Faye from Kentucky, Richmond, Kentucky, for joining us this morning. It's such a pleasure to hear from her, and you sound really good there. I want to thank to all my listeners that have called in. Um, I want to thank Dee Robinson that has called in. I also want to thank, let me see here. My computer's still bad, so it's hard for me to scroll back. Dorothy Cook, thank you from Moretta. Dee Robinson's from Washington County, Moretta, and Dorothy Cook is from North Carolina. So it was nice that you all called in. Now I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 7 p.m. Please tune in and join me tonight, and we can talk further. Keep fighting for your kids. God bless you. And this is Bob Pace signing off.